Greetings, everyone. This is Pamela Lorenzo, your host, your friend, your coach. Today, we're kicking off day 2 of the October class for the 5-day podcast lead challenge for the UK Europe class. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm still buzzing from the call we had last night for the US, Canada, Australia. Full house, packed house, 2.5 hours. And yeah, just telling that. So we're ready here for day 2. Let me start sharing my screen and find the right screen. Now the screen I don't want to share. Joking. All right, let's see. Okay. Do you guys see my screen?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Let me just go into present mode and put this here. All right. So before we start, any questions about yesterday or anything else? Bring them on now.
Nope.
Okay, no question. All right, cool. Did you guys do the brainstorming on your own about the question I asked at the end of day 1, which was, what do you want to achieve to your podcast and all that? Did you guys thought further about it? Because this is what's going to make your creative juices flow in the right direction. Did you guys do that?
No,
Why not?
Yeah.
because I have 3 kids and a
Oh.
lot of stuff.
Oh, yes. Okay. All right. We'll get to it today then. All right. Today we're going to talk about, on the menu is going to be the benefits of podcasting. Why is podcasting so powerful, phenomenally powerful, not only for businesses and entrepreneurs, but also I'm going to expand a lot on the benefits of podcasting for you as a person. It completely changed my life, opened the world to me as a person, and also, and those allowed me to also expand those benefits into business. So let's get going without any further ado. So the agenda is pretty much straightforward. We're gonna straight go into it. So first of all, we're gonna take a look again. Before I get into it, why do you think that podcasting is so powerful for business? Let's hear at least 1 or 2 people.
It's advertisement.
Yes, great answer.
Interaction.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it gives you a vehicle to deliver a message in a
Bingo.
more interesting way than just a straight video.
Absolutely. The interaction.
Because if people do it right and actually promote the video, then you reach their sphere of influence as well.
Absolutely. All are amazing answers. Let's get straight to it. First and foremost is because it's your platform. You get to control it. That's number 1. It allows you to share your story, display your expertise. And by you sharing your story, it's going to do something very powerful because it's going to allow your audience to really get to know you deeply, first and foremost, as a person, as a human being, before the businessman and businesswoman. How many of you here already consume and listen to podcasts? What's your favorite podcast?
Currently I really love the Modern Fairy Sightings podcast.
Okay.
And Ghosties is pretty fun too.
Okay. Why do you like that podcast and how long have you been listening to it?
I don't know, almost a year for one and just like a few weeks for the other. I like it because it's magical, because it's calm, because it's opens my horizon to like England and magical stuff that's happening there with fairies and gnomes and fun stuff like that.
And when do you listen usually to that podcast?
While I'm doing dishes, while I'm cleaning.
Yes. And how do you view the host of that podcast?
In Modern Fairy Sightings, she's so peaceful, she's so compassionate and just genuine.
Yes, absolutely. These are all exactly what podcasting allows you to do. Because again, when someone listens to your podcast, for example, let me backtrack. When we play the TV or radio, it's usually loud. There's a lot of distractions around us. But when someone listens to a podcast, and when you listen to a podcast, it's just you and their earbud. Sure, you might be doing some other activity like cooking, doing the dishes, going for a walk, You can be driving and so on and so forth, but there's no other distractions. And that allows you to have an unmatched, intimate connection with the audience that no other platform allows you to do. And after listening to a podcast for a few episodes and a few weeks and so on and so forth, you end up viewing the host as a friend, even though you've never met them and you probably never will meet them. You will view them as a friend, and that's crucial, especially for business. Because, and I'm gonna expand on it later on, because that's gonna drastically reduce the sales cycle. I'm gonna expand on that in a moment. But basically, by having your podcast, it's your own platform, we can share your story, which is absolutely fundamental to building trust. By you sharing your story, especially on how you've overcome whatever life challenges you've overcome, it's going to display your expertise. It's going to inspire people. It's going to have your audience to get to know you. And once they get to know you, they will view you as a friend, and you will start earning their trust, building rapport, and a lasting connection with the audience. And they will see you as a friend. That's very important. At the base, business is not a numbers game. That's one of the most powerful realizations I've come across. Sure, numbers matter, but ultimately, business is a relationship nurturing process. We do business with people we like, relate, and trust. Anything high ticket, meaning over $1,000, pounds, or euros, it's about one thing and one thing only: trust. Now, how do you build that trust? You build that trust by first building rapport. How do you build that rapport? By speaking from the heart. How do you speak from the heart? By sharing your story. And what's the best platform to do so? The podcast, by having heart-to-heart conversations with the audience. For example, for me, when I get a guest on my podcast, unlike other people, unlike what the majority of gurus are saying, I don't pitch, I don't sell, I don't convince. I have heart-to-heart conversation to get to know the person. I want to know who's Mal, who's Janine, who's Doreen, that was Katie. First and foremost, as a man, as a woman, as a human being, before the businessman or businesswoman. Because if we can't connect man to man, man to woman, woman to man, we're not going to talk, let alone do business with. Because that's a very powerful and fundamental aspect of not just podcasting, but business. Because again, it's all about trust and relationships. And again, podcasting is the best way, from my experience, from the experience of many of my students from around the world, to build that trust, to build that rapport, so that you can have a deep, meaningful connection with the audience and not just random people. And I will show you later in this challenge how to identify your exact ideal audience. That's going to be based on identifying first your true zone of genius, your true gifts. As you will see also, everything will build from the previous day. So it's like building a house or bricks. So again, at the end of the day, we'll be able to find, identify, and reach people that can relate with us, that can identify themselves with us, that can resonate with our message, and that can see themselves as us. That is very important. And this is why podcasting is the best way to do so, especially once we have clarity as to what is the number one pain point we're solving and for who. And this is what we're going to be doing tomorrow, identifying your zone of genius. So, why is podcasting the best? Also, guys, at any time, any questions, feel free, raise your hand and let me know. So I don't keep on talking for. All right. So why is podcasting the best way to connect with the exact ideal audience and prospect and clients? Again, as I mentioned earlier, when someone listens to your podcast, it's for three main reasons. First of all, sure, they're interested in the topic that you're talking about, but also because they can relate with you. Oh, okay, here comes Vicky. Also because they can relate with you, they can resonate to their message, they can identify with you, your message, your story, and see you as one of their own. And most importantly, they like you. For example, Kat, you mentioned you listen to a podcast. You've been listening to a podcast for a while. You view the host as one of your friends. It's because by you by you listening to them on an ongoing basis, you start to like them. You start to like their sense of humor, their personality, and so on and so forth, their values, and at the end, you will see them as a friend, and that's going to open up a world of opportunities for you as a host, because that's gonna make it natural for your audience to reach out to you as opposed to you chasing them. So that's very important. Hello, Vicky. Thank you for joining us. Are you there? Vicky? Okay, she'll be in a moment. All right. Do you guys know what is the most valuable currency in the world, especially world of business nowadays? Go ahead, Katie. You raised your hand? Anyone wants to give it a crack? What is the most valuable currency in the world of business? It's not money. It's more powerful than money. It's what's going to allow you to get access to that money. Anyone?
Time.
Time is important, but it's not that.
Must.
Trust is very important, yes. But ultimately, it's attention, especially in today's world, with people being bombarded with all kinds of distractions on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all these commercials. The attention span of the average adult has gone from 30 minutes in the 90s to now was 7 seconds. 10 years ago, now it's literally 3 seconds. 3 seconds. That's how long you have to catch someone's interest. So, and again, as mentioned earlier, when someone listens to radio or TV, it's usually loud and there's a lot of distraction around them. But when someone listens to a podcast, especially to your podcast, and just you in the earbuds, no other distractions, as a result of that, you get the full attention in ways that no other mediums even comes close to it. And that's why by you having your own podcast, by your audience listening to you and your audience, you will build a trust, a rapport with them in no time. Because again, they're listening to you. Sure, they might be doing the dishes, cooking, driving, going for a walk, whatever, but there's no other distractions, unlike the TV or radio. Does that make sense, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, good. So who is podcasting for? Again, since the dawn of time, we've been all about stories. As the saying says, facts tell, stories sell. Any business, both online and offline, can benefit from podcasting because each client, each customer, each person, each deal, each trade, each launch, each book, course, program, whatever you're doing, that's a story. And that's a story worth telling and sharing, not only around you, but around the world. And it doesn't matter what stage your business is, whether you're just starting out or you're already a very established business. And I've had people in my challenges in the past, as well in my academy, that were authors, coaches, professionals, entrepreneurs, and they all been able to benefit from it. Because again, as long as you have a transformational skill, and that's very key, transformational, then you will benefit from it. Also, even more so if you have a high ticket offer of at least $1,000 or more. Raise your hand if you have already an offer of $1,000, pounds, or euros already. Okay. Okay, perfect. Because again, one thing I always keep on saying, don't make your business transactional. Meaning, it's not about your time, because there's always a ceiling how much you can charge. Don't make your business about your knowledge, because knowledge can be obtained pretty much for free, especially now with ChatGPT and all that. Instead, make it transformational. Make it something that can really not just improve, but transform their lives. People pay for two main things: one, speed, and two, transformation. So if there's something that someone can learn in a year, but here you come, you can reduce the time and teach them in 30 days, as opposed to 1 year, they will pay big bucks. For example, let's say you're a divorce coach, for example, and I've had divorce coach in the past classes. You all know the implication of divorce, how much you will lose pretty much everything. It's going to cost you hundreds, if not millions of dollars, or pounds, or euros. But what if I were a divorce coach and I will say, my fee is $50,000, $100,000. That may seem a lot, but what's at stake? At stake is you might end up losing $1 million or $2 million. So in contrast, it's a no-brainer. So again, the bigger the pain you're addressing and solving, the more you can charge. That's common sense. That's basic 101. Of all of you guys, the one I've got to know a bit more is you, Mal, because I've had a conversation with you, I've had a podcast with you. What you're doing is absolutely, truly transformational, because by you helping your clients heal, you're not only helping save relationship, but you're saving families, helping people, not just heal, but save families, save relationship. And that's truly transformational. That's why you've been so successful. And that applies to all of you. Ask yourself, what can I offer that's going to be transformational? It's going to drastically elevate the quality of my life, or whatever, of my clients. And that's something we're going to explore tomorrow, and identifying your zone of genius, because we all have a zone of genius. Does that make sense about the importance of being transformational and not transactional? Okay, cool. Now, how can podcasting benefit you personally? These are all based on my own personal experiences, as well as those of my previous students. First and foremost, for you as a person, it's a phenomenal platform to share your story and document your journey. In the process, you'll be able to make phenomenal friendships around the world, which I've been blessed to. And so will you once you have your own podcast. And if you already do, you already know that. Here's one of the biggest benefits of podcasting. It gives you access to people you normally wouldn't. Let's say you see someone that you just saw on TV, you just read the book or something, and you would like to connect with them. If you were to send them a message on LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever, hey, can I please get a quick call to pick your brain? Unless you know them personally, you wouldn't even hear from them. But what if you were to say, hey, my name is Mal, my name is Janine, Dorinda, Caddy, Vicky. I'm the host of the whatever is your podcast names. I love what you're doing. I just heard about you. I just read a piece on you. I just saw you on TV. And I would love for you to come share your story and your impact on my podcast. You use that approach, they will get back to you. They will say, absolutely. Just say when. And 4 years and over 400 episodes of my podcast using this approach, I've had only 2 people say no. One was a lady about to give birth, so we had to reschedule it for a few weeks later. And one was a gentleman from the US, was about to move from work from the US to Germany, and we had to reschedule it. But other than that, nobody has said no to being a guest on my podcast using this approach, as opposed to, can I please pick up your brain? That is incredibly important, guys. That is very valuable. You get access to people you normally wouldn't be able to. And the biggest part is, the best part, they don't care about how big your podcast is. My podcast is very small. In 4 years, I had 2 people ask me, so how big is your podcast? How many views you get? And when I tell them, for me, it's not about the numbers, but about the connection, the trust. They understand it. Because again, at the end of the day, business is all about connections, trust, rapport. Here's another big one. In the process of you doing a podcast, talking to an incredible guest, you will start to learn about yourself and get to know yourself. I can't tell you how many times after rewatching my own episode before releasing them, I catch myself saying, wait a second, did I really say that? Where is that coming from? At times you'll find yourself almost as if you're channeling information. You get in a zone. I've seen that happen to myself countless times. And so will you once you start getting on conversation with incredible people on your podcast. Here's a big one that completely changed my life. Having your own podcast can allow you to overcome your shyness and fear of public speaking. Public speaking is one of the biggest fears people have. And getting on a podcast is one of the best ways to overcome it and kill it. For me, you guys know my story. I used to be painfully shy. Podcasting is what allowed me to, once and for all, kill my shyness. And now I'm not afraid of talking to calls, in front of stages. I just did my first TED Talk in August in front of a packed auditorium of at least 300 people. It was natural for me. But if you had asked me 5 years ago, I would have been deathly afraid, worried. I wouldn't be able to step on that stage. So that's a massive one. Here's another big one. As you get to do podcast episodes over a few weeks or a few months, it's going to drastically improve your communication and listening skills. Before that, when I first started, here's one of the greatest skills you can have as a podcaster, as a host. And this is a trait of the best podcast. When you interview someone, it's not about you. The star is your guest. A lot of podcasters, especially newbie podcasters, make the mistake of always being about them, always, interrupting the host. And there's nothing more frustrating than that. I used to do that before. Oh, I want to say my piece. No, it's not about you. It's about the host. Your job is to make the other person shine brighter. When you make them shine brighter and win, guess what? You will win in process as well. So never interrupt. Let your guest, finish what they're saying, and then you can say your piece. And again, that's part of your communication and listening skills. We need to listen twice as much than talk. That's why God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. So again, that's something I personally improved a lot. And as a result of you doing podcasts and talking with incredible and people with inspiring, empowering, and goosebump-inducing stories, you will become a much more interesting person to talk to because you have so many more, experiences to learn from, to draw from, and so on and so forth. And also, that's going to make you connect much deeper to anyone you talk to, not just on podcasts or business, but even people around you, your family, your relatives, your friends, your neighbors, your business partners, your partner, and so on and so forth. And all of that, when you put them together, they're going to make you a much more powerful and charismatic person and leader. Because again, you will be better you will not be shy anymore. You'll have no fear of public speaking. You will be much more improved as a listener, as a communicator. You'll be much more interesting, being able to connect much deeper. And all of that's going to make you a very well-rounded and charismatic speaker and leader. And most importantly, last but not least, podcasting is very fun. If it wasn't fun, nobody would do it. And when you do all of that, put them all together, you will be able to find your voice, your passion, and your purpose. So again, these are some of the most amazing, life-transforming benefits of podcasting for you as a person. Does that make sense? Of all of these, which one for you do you personally is the most important? Or the one that you personally, how can I put that, are currently lacking and would improve the most? Let's hear
Share
it.
your story and documents for your journey and make great friendship around the world. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. What about you, Dorinda?
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm not shy, so I've been doing this for a while, so it's easy for me to stand in front. But expanding what I already know how to do and reaching a bigger audience and connecting with more people and making friendships is
Awesome. What about you, Carrie?
Yeah, the connection is the one that is the most important to me, and I think the thing that I would want to improve in is the being more powerful and charismatic for myself, like in putting myself out there when I'm the guest to connect with the people that I'm meant to connect with.
Awesome. Absolutely. What about you, Janine? Janine, are you there?
Sure.
All right, no problem. Let's move on. Now, let's talk now about some of the benefits of podcasting for you as a business. And everything builds from the benefits of you as a person and adds on to the benefits of business. So first and foremost, having your own podcast is going to allow you to attract and connect your clients, your exact ideal clients in a natural, organic, and magnetic way, especially once after tomorrow, once we've gone over identifying your zone of genius and building your business around your zone of genius. By you having your platform, sharing your story is gonna allow your audience to get to know you as a person, as a human being, as a man, as a woman. That's very important in order to establish trust and rapport. And also, it's gonna allow you to build a very intimate connection with the audience because of what I just said, by building trust and rapport. Here's a big one for business, probably one of the biggest one. Your best clients will be your podcast listeners. For me, 100%, let me repeat that, 100% of my clients come from my podcast. Let that sink in, 100%. Why is that? Can you guys guess why is that?
I mean, because they listen to you and trust you.
That's it. Bingo. But I will expand on that later on in today's talk. And of course, podcasting is an amazing, not only lead generation, but also a lead education machine. As coaches, mentors, activators, our number one goal is to educate our market, educate our audience about what is the problem they're having, because we don't know what we don't know. And by you educating them, that's going to establish you in their eyes, not only as an expert, as a leader, as an authority, but their expert, their leader, their authority. And that's why it's an amazing machine. And of course, that's a very known fact. You can leverage your podcast for endless content. Let's say your podcast episode about an hour. You can repurpose that into highlights, reels, quotes, and so on and so forth across all of your social media, your marketing, and all that. And as I mentioned earlier, having your own podcast, sharing your story, displaying expertise, educating your audience about what is the main problem they are facing, that's going to elevate you and position you not only as an expert, a leader, and authority in your field, but as their expert, their leader, their authority, because they've been listening to you, they've been building trust, liking you, and they see you as their expert, their authority, their leader. Do you see how that is powerful, guys? And of course, podcasting is incredible for networking. Podcasting has become the new golf. Now can't tell you how many big businesses I've started as a result of people connect on a podcast. Nowadays, I only do business with people I met on my podcast. My publisher, she was a guest. Now she's my publisher, and she was one of the first alumni of my academy. My copywriter, everybody I do business with nowadays come from my podcast. Just like 100% of my clients come from my podcast, 100% of the people I do business with come from my podcast. Because again, of that trust, that connection, that rapport. And of course, podcasting is a phenomenal launching pad for much bigger things. I just mentioned that. My little podcast, despite being still very small, opened the world to me. Not only the connection, the friendships, but also allowed me to become a 4-time #1 international bestselling author. Allowed me to build a thriving international academy. Now expanding in the UK and Europe. Allowed me to do my first TED Talk, and so on and so forth. And who knows what's next in store for me. There's absolutely no limit. Public speaking, corporate training, you name it. Whatever, I can pretty much take this anywhere, because once you have your podcast, that's the best portfolio you can send to any future client, to any future, whatever you, let's say you want to do corporate training, or you want to go on a stage and do a TED Talk. Just send them a link to your podcast, because that's going to show, hey, that person can speak, that person is interesting, that person is compelling, and that person is is not boring and knows how to speak and convey a message. So again, there's no better platform as a launching pad than a podcast. And as I mentioned earlier, it drastically reduces the sales cycle of whatever you're selling, again, because of the trust factor. Do you guys see how powerful that is when you put all of these together? This is truly transformational for a business and for you. Does it make sense for you guys? Any questions? Any comments? Anything? All right, let's move on. As I mentioned earlier, the deep connection that allows you is unmatched. With a podcast, you'll be able to build a really deep connection with your audience, allowing them to know you better as a person, as a human being, as a man, as a woman, first and foremost. Who's coming? There's someone trying to get it. Okay. And that is very important. Once you've built the trust, then there's no need for you to pitch, to sell, to convince, or like to say in a funny, cheesy way, to seduce or kidnap someone to do business with them. It will become a natural, organic progression to do business with them, because that trust is opening doors, opportunities, wallets, and everything in between. Do you guys know this guy?
Yeah, well, he did.
Who's that?
Nope, don't know him.
All right. Do you guys know this guy, Russell Brunson? He's the co-founder of ClickFunnels, which is a multi-billion-dollar company. It's a platform that allows you to do to build very easily drag and drop landing pages and especially funnels. So here's a powerful quote. Music and radio listeners make on average $60,000 or pounds or euros a year, while podcast listeners make double, on average 120K. Can you guys guess why that is?
Because there's more listeners than, I don't know.
That's a good start. Tell me more.
There's more listeners than podcasters.
Okay, that's a good one. Anyone else? Why do you think that on average podcast listeners make twice as much as people that listen to radio?
You're listening to something that resonates with you.
Yes, that's very true.
And thumbs down, dude.
Darina, what were we going to say? Darina, go ahead.
Nothing. I just saw my screen gave a thumbs down, but I don't know why. Sometimes I don't know
I
what
didn't
it's
even see it.
that wasn't on purpose. I didn't do that. Sometimes it
when you
gives
do
balloons.
this, and when you do this, it does that. Yes.
Yeah, but it does. No, I didn't do it. But
Oh, wow. That's spooky. Okay.
No.
All right. Oh, man. Since I've been back in Canada, I've been coughing like crazy. I wasn't coughing when I was in Asia. Anyways, the reason for that is, again, because of the trust, because they feel that they know you. They can relate with you. Not only that, and also because podcast listeners, on average, they understand the value of self-development. Not only they understand the value of self-development, but they're also more successful. They have more disposable income. So they not only understand, but they also are willing, ready, and able to invest in coaching programs to improve themselves, to become better, to level up. Whereas music and radio listeners, on average, they just go on their merry way, homework, and so on and so forth. But podcast listeners are always actively looking to learn, to grow, to level up. And also because, again, it's about the trust. Here's another big one that I mentioned earlier. Your podcast listeners will be your best clients. And that is because your podcast listeners already know you. They feel they know you. They view you as a friend. They already have that trust with you. Your podcast listeners will be your best clients and will pay you the most money because they have the connection, rapport, trust with you that non-listeners do not. Let's say you're selling, say, a $5,000 package. Let's say you just saw someone. Would you buy from them? Or let's say in contrast, someone you've been listening to a podcast for 10 weeks, you really know them, you really understand who they are, their values, you like their personality, the sense of humor, and you know what they can deliver. You've seen them in action. They've displayed their expertise by sharing their story. And they say, hey, I have a program which is $10,000. Which are you more likely to say yes to? Of course, the person that you already know, which is common sense. So again, for that, podcasting is incredibly powerful because it really, by building the trust and rapport, it drastically reduces the sales cycle of whatever you're selling. Because again, it's all about trust. So that's any question about today's topics, the benefits of podcasting for you personally in your business. Let's have some Q&A, some questions.
Something that struck me as a little bit odd was the educate people about their needs thing. I think I was like, it just like, I don't know, people probably know their needs pretty well.
Yes, to some extent. But to some extent, they don't. Let me give you an example. Personally, and this is the number one thing I'm going to be covering this week, is to tackle the number one reason why most coaches and entrepreneurs online fail to get any traction. Why is that? Because they lack clarity. Their message is too vague. They want to help everyone with all of the issues. And when you help everyone with all of issues, your message is vague, is diluted. It doesn't have any power. It doesn't connect with anyone, doesn't resonate with anyone. And when your message doesn't resonate, guess what? You're not going to connect. No connection, no leads, no leads, no revenue, no sales, no sales, no business, no business. You're facing the, to close your business and look for a job, and so on and so forth. Or let's say someone has a sleeping problem. They need to understand what is causing the problem, why the problem is here in the first place, and what's going to happen if they don't take any action. And then once they understand that, once you educate them as to what is the problem, then they will be much more likely. The first question that's going to come in their mind is to say, oh, how do I fix this? Well, glad you asked. That's why I'm here. And that's something I'm going to cover in more in details tomorrow and on Thursday. So this is very important. By you sharing your story, displaying your expertise, you will be one of your main tasks is to educate your audience, because you're the expert. You know exactly what is their pain point. And how do you know their pain point? Because again, you intimately, deeply understand the pain point of your audience. Because again, your audience, you've personally successfully overcome what they're going through. You've been in the shoes, so you know that inside out, because you're the expert, you're the authority, the leader. So that's why our number one task as mentors, coaches, activators is to educate our audience. For example, Mal, in your practice, when someone comes for a session and they say, oh, I have this issue, walk us through the process. Do you tell them why they have this and why the problem is here in the first place?
Yeah.
That's it. And that works for all of us. For example, for me, when I get on a call with a prospect, they say I'm not getting any leads and all that. I try to talk to them, say, what's causing that? Let me tell me your offer. Tell me who's your avatar and all that and so forth. So it's all about, we basically almost like a doctor. What a doctor does, they try to understand what is the problem so I can diagnose you correctly. We can help you. And that's what we do. Does that answer your question, Kathy?
Yes.
All right, cool. Awesome. Let me go into okay. The chat. It's really exciting. As a finance coach, I would say that 80% of my clients don't really know what they really need to know. Exactly. Because again, we don't know what we don't know. And that applies to every single one of us. Just like the eternal Socrates said, the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know anything. All right. Any more questions about anything? Questions, comments?
Yes. What if you're not the expert, Like I have a lot of people on and I'm learning from them and I like, well, maybe this isn't the right space for me because I'm not the expert.
Well, great question. Great question. And that's something I'm going to tackle more in detail tomorrow, because the podcast, what we are building here is an impactful and profitable business. What we're building a business centered around your zone of genius, your true gifts. And we all have that. And that's something we're going to brainstorm together. We're going to identify what is your zone of genius, your true gifts, and then we're going to build your offer, craft your messaging around your zone of genius. So all you have to do is just share your story, speaking from the heart, by how you overcame whatever life challenges you've overcome. That's one of the most practical, easiest way to build a very not only profitable but also impactful business. All you have to be, as I mentioned yesterday, people are not looking for, what people are looking is for someone who's 1, 2, 3, or at most 4 steps ahead of them. Someone they can relate, resonate, connect, and is accessible and reachable. So you will be talking to people who are currently going through what you personally successfully overcome. And all you have to do is just share your story, how you overcame it yourself. You don't need to be an expert in all categories. An expert is someone that just knows a little bit more than the person they're helping. You don't need to be the all-knowing, world expert in a field. Does it answer your question?
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Any other questions? Whose iPhone? I only see iPhone on a black screen. Is that you, Vicky? Just put a thumbs up and or whatever. Just even if you're not on the camera, just whoever you are, just say where you are, please. Okay, what else? Oh no, that's not Vicky because Vicky I see her on the screen. So whose iPhone? Anyways, hi iPhone. Thank you for joining us. Shanine, do you have any question? Question, comment? Okay.
No, I guess a comment. Yeah, it all makes sense to me. I've sort of been around for a long time, sales and marketing, and it's all about building a relationship. And that's what you're talking about, building
That's it.
relationship.
Trust. That's it.
Mhm.
That's it. Dorinda, any question, comment, feedback, compliment to all of you?
I'm good for now.
All right, cool. Mal.
No questions. I'm just looking forward for the next few days.
Okay, awesome. Vicky, thank you for joining us, my friend. How are you doing?
I've been better, but it was a great call. Thank you.
Mm.
Very
I'm
welcome.
struggling.
Any questions?
No, I don't think so. No, it was exciting. I always love the bit, it just reaffirms about the importance of connection, really. And I think that's something that we really do need to be very, very aware of.
Absolutely. Sending you all the fastest healing vibes, my friend. Please recover, rest
Yeah.
up. Very welcome.
Thank you.
Very welcome. So here's a sneak peek into tomorrow, day 3. Tomorrow I will have a very special guest as well. We're gonna be starting our deep work. We're gonna start brainstorming, identifying what is your zone of genius, your true gift, and we're gonna use that. I'm gonna use that as a foundation to building your offer, crafting your messaging, and identifying your client avatar and all that good stuff. And at the end, I will give you as a gift my own proven blueprint to launch your podcast in 3 easy steps. And also we'll have 2 powerful guest speakers, one from the UK, Mark Ramsey, and one from North America, Canada, Jordan Molina. They're absolutely killing it on LinkedIn, doing over $100,000 a month. And they're going to showing us how to leverage LinkedIn for business. So make sure you're here tomorrow. It's going to be a great one. And for the rest of the week, I will have guests for you. Well, I will see if they can come early in the morning, but they will be mostly for the US. But I will try them to come also for you guys in the UK early morning. It's 8 o'clock for us in North America in the morning. So we'll see if I can get them. If not, I will post the replay of the US call with those amazing guest speakers. On Friday, I will have my publisher, Mary Gooding, talking to you about how to leverage your podcasting to publish your first and next book and how powerful are books for your business. So it's going to be a fun week. I highly recommend if you get the time to watch replay from last night's call with the US. It was a packed call, fun call. We went over 2.5 hours, and the guest, Misha Zveginsov, blew our mind away. How to get into podcasts, even the big ones, as a guest and go into a podcast tour. So that's a menu for today. Patricia is coming now. Oh, wow. Who's Patricia? Okay. Okay. So that's for today. Any last minute questions before we call it a day?
You send me all the information on WhatsApp because I don't use any social media.
Absolutely. Of course. I've got
Thank
you
you.
covered, my brother. I've got you covered. Yes.
Thank you.
Don't worry. Very welcome. Do you have any questions before we call it a day?
No.
All right, guys. So I will be posting the replay within an hour or so on Facebook. And for you, Mal, I'll send it to you on WhatsApp as usual, my brother. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be an amazing one because we're going to be starting doing the brainstorming, identifying your zone of genius, and that's going to be the central point of your, not just your podcast, but your business. And this is what's going to make your podcast, your business impactful and very profitable. Are you guys excited about that? All right, then. As I like to say, have a fantabulous rest of the day. I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time. And Vicky, please rest up. Sending all the fastest healing vibes of the universe, my friend. See you tomorrow. Take care, guys.